And welcome to another episode of the SD4L show. I'm
Back.
Justin Thind,
Let's
and
go.
I'm here with my co-host, Matt Sheehan. That is correct, Matt. Back from
Yep.
hiatus.
Back. The haters are sick right now. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Missing all these great positive developments, lots of fun and great news that we did not get a chance to cover here in recent weeks. But oh well.
You know what? Our football team is 3-6. Our basketball team just dropped their first game against James Madison. But you know what? We're not going to just get on here like a pack of mopey camels at the zoo, Justin. Oh no. Because you know why? It's always sunny and 85 in East Lansing. Better days are ahead. We are living to see the light here, Justin. So yeah, sure, it hasn't been like the greatest of times in the last month, but like, what are we going to do? Not talk about Michigan State? Come on. There's plenty of still good things to talk about here.
Yeah, Matt. Also, your perspective there is incorrect. The way you need to be looking at it is, as Harlan Barnett said, the goal is to go 4-0 in November, and Michigan State is 1-0 in November, not 3-6. They're 1-0. And
that's my
moreover, the basketball team, they have an opportunity to get better. And that's the way you've got to look at it. That's the way that anybody should be looking at it. No, I'm just kidding. Not great stuff here.
No. That was good. No. I like that optimism. Edit the part out where you said that. No, that wasn't good. No. We like that.
My tone was almost like, I feel like I delivered that too well and too believable. I didn't need people actually cutting that out, posting it on MGO blog and being like, this is actually like how he's spinning it.
Because they got nothing else to post on MGO blog right now. Like they're starving for content over there.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. And Matt, the issue is if they do post something else on MGO blog, a bunch of people are going to criticize the guy for posting it, say that it should be deleted because people shouldn't be seeing it. A la the BC2 LLC discovery that was made over there. But
my favorite Wyoming company, is that what we're talking about right now? Wow. Yeah, they do great work, whatever they do, whether it's vacuums or housing or sign stealing, whatever it is. They do a bang up job over there in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So
hey, no free advertising, Matt. If you need a new
Dyson, I'm sorry,
we're not recommending the Stallions Criminal Syndicate as the place to get it from.
Sorry, my bad.
But yeah, is that where we're going to start, Matt? We want to dive into the happenings of one of the bigger programs in our region and discuss that a bit, because it's funny how anytime Michigan is discussed, or I guess Michigan as a whole, their fans, their people, they have this perspective of, oh, Michigan is one of the biggest brands in the world. Michigan is a blue blood. Michigan is in the forefront of the conversation. Yet anytime Michigan is then discussed in a negative light or in a light that's fair, suddenly it's, why are you talking about Michigan? You don't have anything else to talk about? So there's a funny sort of a disconnect there of they want to be talked about when everything is good and great, but suddenly, now that they're in the headlines for something that is not good and great, they suddenly are confused as to why I would be tweeting about it. I'm over here, Matt, tweeting about when UTSA's coach is getting his pinky stuck in a mouse trap in a way to motivate his players. Why would I not be talking about a dude wearing camera recording Ray-Bans on the East Lansing sidelines?
No, and like it's fun watching the squirm happen when it gets outside of Ann Arbor, like when the state media can't just be the only ones that talk about the story, like when it gets to ESPN and Fine Bob, and then we're here like, oh my God, they're doing this calculated attack on our program. They're having organized talking points. This is just unfair. They're trying to sabotage us. Like, can you say out loud what the talking points are? Because I'm pretty sure they're just saying that cheating at a grand scale, like you guys have been accused of, should be punished. I don't think that's a necessarily wild, outlandish thing for ESPN to rally around. Like, yeah, sure, you have some people at Fox, like Joel Klatt, Jim Harbaugh's finest lapdog, just parading out whatever propaganda he possibly can. But no, when actual people with actual non-biased opinions want to comment on what's happening at your program, we get a little uncomfortable, don't we? No, this isn't just the Detroit News doing puff pieces and sweeping every Mozzie Smith, Jeff Jackson incident under the rug. Like, no, this is actually a national story here. And do you know what? Like, here's what I'm amazed with. Do you know how hard it is in the year of our Lord 2023 to be the top story for not just 2 days, not 5 days, not a week, but for 3 straight weeks? This is dominating the 24-hour news cycle. Like, do you realize how bad this has gotten, how outlandish this has gotten? Like, it is remarkably hard in such an entertaining college football season too, to be the top story for this length. Like, this isn't normal. This is a little unique. And sure, there's a lot of ways you can divert the vacuum company. It's just the homeowners association beef that he has with his Spartan neighbor. Like, it's, wow, this just doesn't die. And now we have state legislature just penning letters to Tony Petitti, which I'm going to funnel into my newest favorite talking point. Is just all of a sudden that Michigan writers think that Tony Petitti was just some intern that they promoted last month, and that he's underqualified. This is why this isn't going our way, because he doesn't deserve the job. He's crazy, I tell you. Like,
yeah,
this is where we're at right now.
Yeah,
sure. Good luck with that one, I guess.
Yeah, and then the new talking point today along those lines is how powerless he allegedly is, of how he doesn't have the authority to punish Michigan. I'm sure Tony, who is trying to find his footing here and make his mark on his tenure, is definitely not motivated by hearing how he has no authority. I think that's a great strategy there from Ann Arbor.
No, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and the other thing is these talking point of, okay, other schools cheat too. Okay, well, first of all, we would have to define what tier of cheating the other schools are cheating in. Second of all, in no way, shape, or form does that allude to your own innocence. That is not something where you are saying we didn't do this. Nothing that is coming out from that program in any way is saying, oh, this didn't happen. It's either A, Harbaugh didn't know that this was happening. And Harbaugh said from the beginning, I didn't have any knowledge of illegal sign stealing. He never said at any point, and now, first of all, don't believe him on that. But second of all, he didn't even say there was no illegal sign stealing going on within the program. At no point has anyone denied that this was going on. If that is true, which they have basically said is true, that alone calls for punishment of you not knowing what's happening at your own program if you're Jim Harbaugh. So for them to go ahead and have these defenses of Harbaugh didn't know, to me, that is absolutely meaningless. That only matters in, I guess, the court of public opinion of if Michigan fans don't want people to think too badly on Harbaugh. Other than that, I don't think that has any sort of play in the actual punishment that should be at hand, because it doesn't matter what coaches know anymore. The responsibility is to know what's happening in their program. And second of all, like you were saying, there's just no basis for them to say other schools are doing it, so therefore we shouldn't be punished. If anything, if we truly want to make this a huge thing, it's let's start investing in everybody, but we'll start with punishing you guys.
Yeah. Why not? Well, here, I just got a quick little statement here to read. This is from the University of Michigan in response to the Big Ten. Every coach, every executive, every leader, they all know right from wrong, even those Enron guys. When someone uncovers a scandal in their company, I don't think they could say, quote, I didn't know what was going on. They're just saying they're too dumb or to do their job. And if they really are too dumb, then why are they getting paid millions of dollars to do it? They know what's going on. Hold on, wait a minute. That was a quote from Bo Schembechler. Shoot, in Bo's lasting lessons, kind of saying that, well, if you're the leader of a place, you should know everything that's going on. And if you don't know what's going on, then, well, you're just a ding-dong. Sorry, I thought that was a Michigan statement. Oops. I'll straighten things out. It's been a while since we've done the show, Justin. I'm a little loose right now. But, yeah, I mean, it's just fascinating to see, like, Tony, like, we don't know what the punishment is. Do I think it's going to be extreme? Like, they're going to start ripping away postseason eligibility in the Big Ten championship game? No, let's be adults about this. Like, it's not going to be that extreme, I think. But it's funny to hear, like, if he punishes Michigan, that would be unprecedented.
Right.
Yeah. Do you know what else is unprecedented? Your spy regime that's going on right now. Like, this whole thing is unprecedented. This is why we've been doing this for 3 weeks over here. Like, it's
right.
Yeah, we can say, like, oh, you can't do that. Well, you guys couldn't do that either. Here we are.
Right. Yeah. The funniest thing is those that have broken the rules and had no regard at all for legality are now sitting around saying, oh, due process must be followed. Due process.
Oh, don't get me started on due process. Due process. Jim Harbaugh wanted those 8 players in the tunnel executed after the game. And look, I understand that the tunnel thing and the spy thing are 2 different incidences at their core, but it takes 2 brain cells to understand what a lot of us are talking about is the reaction and response. One, want a due process for the whole spy. Hey, let a 5-year investigation come out, and then let's just make a decision after that, okay? When we're all gone, please. Whereas, last year, I want every single one of those kids thrown in a prison with gasoline doused all over it and a match thrown inside. I want that immediately. And, well, hey, you know what? I'll bring up a guy whose name I never thought we'd bring up ever again on this show, but Mel Tucker had the due diligence of suspending those players before the investigation even started. That's called accountability. And look, it doesn't have to be just this incident, but maybe they are just shocked that there's somewhat of due process going on right now because there was no process sometimes with them, like the Mozzie Smith case last year. So, so due process. Give me a break. All right.
And Matt,
do the process as fast as we want.
Yeah. And if somebody's counterpoint to that tunnel incident is, oh, well, the video was so clear, so easily available, it was impossible to get it wrong. That's why due process should have been followed. Well, guess what? Malcolm Jones was one of the people suspended, and he was exonerated when actual due process took place. So therefore, that right there is the proof in the pudding that there should have been due process instead of him being reported as one of the people that were suspended because the process was rushed and his name was smeared. And then it was found out that he didn't have anything to do with it. And those people are now the ones that are saying that due process must be followed. And the funny thing is that was actually a criminal matter where it was supposed to be handled in the court of law. And that was running parallel to obviously the Big Ten suspensions, the Michigan State school enforced suspensions. But they easily could have leaned, Michigan State or the Big Ten could have leaned and said, hey, even though I get that they're playing in our competitions, we're going to let the court angle of this play out because due process is attached there. No part of this Michigan scandal is running adjacent to a legal process. And the Big Ten's own sportsmanship policy does not require any sort of due process. It's actually made for these instances where there must be intervention in the middle of a season. And there's no element of due process inside this policy. There's no legal ramifications outside of this policy. Whereas in the tunnel, there was that legal side of things that was playing out at the parallel, and they still didn't let out due process play. So yeah, just the hypocrisy is just off the charts there. Kind of the other, I guess, just that one's this is a little more funnier, but the two sides of the coin. Connor Stalions. Brilliant guy on one hand, just
oh my god, are you kidding me? Yeah. Yes, he truly is
coding all these signs. It's hard to do, and like they when they have these signs, like first of all, there's like guys wearing like 3 different apparels of colors of clothing, and you have to discern like which one on which drive is the real one. Even then, they're doing a series of signs, and some's a brush off sign, and you have to kind of throw that away, and this is very hard to piece together. Yet this man is doing this. And I guess maybe if you have unlimited hours of the day and you have footage that you can replay and you're not doing it in the middle of the game, which is what makes this so illegal. But if you have that, I'm sure you can pull it off, but you've got to be smart. Then on the other side of the coin, Matt, this man shows up to East Lansing with Ray-Ban glasses that have a blue light flickering, wearing Nike shoes, standing among colleagues for the night that are all wearing Adidas sponsored shoes. He's hiding his face every time that the play is on camera. He's going on SeatGeek and TickPick and buying tickets under his own legal name. I don't understand how somebody could have such a vast operation and also have it run in such a Mickey Mouse fashion. It's unprecedented levels of juxtaposition there.
It truly is. Brilliant mind, like just second grade level of execution there. Do you want to stay on the Central Michigan thing right now? Because I know we just railed on Michigan for the last 10 minutes, and look at it, like that's just fun. Like it's a hoot and a half. But like this is also happening on quite literally Michigan State's home turf, just like you referenced, just like we've all seen. And just like CMU keeps on investigating for a week and a half of, hey, who was that? Like CMU, like what's going on? Here's my thing with CMU. I could take a school bus to the greater Mount Pleasant area right now and fill that thing to the gills with scrawny white men with a goatee that looks somewhat like what Connor Stalions looked like on the sideline that day by noon, I think. Like, you're telling me you couldn't prop up one guy to say like, oh, no, it was him. It was him. He'll take the fall. It's him. Like, just from a PR standpoint, how was that not even done in Mount Pleasant? I think you even could have gotten away with that too. It could have been very easy if you did it quickly enough. But now we're doing Where's Waldo for a week and a half. And at this point, I mean, look, it's very clearly Connor Stalions, because it doesn't take you this long to find one guy out there. But so what happens now? Because our friend Odell Brettham, chief of propaganda, he started this thing online. Hey, CMU, we paid you $1.75 million, was it, for this game? Which is that's a lot of money. We'll take that back. We'll take that money back. We'll take that back with interest, because, look, it's clear that CMU is complicit in this. Connor did not drop down into the stadium with a parachute, with no one, giving him any sign or any pass. Right? He got a pass from someone, all right? There are staff members, coaches on CMU sidelines that have a history working for Michigan, working for Jim Harbaugh. Oh, how did he get on the sidelines? Let's be an adult about it, okay? People just don't delete phone numbers when they leave places. Like, people know people. And, yeah, they had one of their 50 passes available for one Connor Stalions to enjoy a Friday evening in East Lansing. But, yeah, we'll take that money back, CMU. Thank you.
Yeah. The funny thing about it is that the discourse there, once again, it's so many people saying, oh, it's on Michigan State to vet the sideline. Not on the guy that cheated. He's not the villain here. It's on the school that got spied on. They're the ones that the onus is on to prevent this from happening. And to that point, like you said, like Central obviously helped him, because I believe it was Sports Illustrated. They reported that the process to get those sideline passes is you have to submit your list of 50 staff members that are going to need sideline mid-game access, and that has to be signed either by the head coach, the athletic director, or a assignee that can sign on behalf of the athletic director. So either I guess maybe they fooled that higher authority, like whoever was helping Conor get on, maybe like an assistant quarterbacks coach. I don't know. Maybe they're just put it in front of the coach, had him sign it. He didn't know. Maybe.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is this does implicate to some extent one of either the athletic director or the head coach there, Jim McElwain. And now, I don't believe they knew anything about this at that level, because if they did, I'm sure McElwain, quickly to wash his hands of it, would have just said, hey, I know what happened here. This isn't right. Michigan did this. He would have just gotten rid of it. So I believe that he doesn't know. But at some point, it's so clear, for the reasons you said, that it's Connor Stalions, because anybody else, you would have been able to present it in 15 minutes. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why the NCAA is just now getting involved in this. At this point, it's one of those things where if there's like a missing person for so many amount of days, eventually they're unfortunately declared deceased, right? In this case, missing person for so many days, you got to declare Connor Stalions. So I don't understand what the delay there is.
It's been fun, and that's the thing too. Like, of course, we open up Twitter, we banter about this. It's a lot of fun. We're having a hoot and a half, and then you see Sparty keeps crying about it. It's like, guys, I should have no reason to smile this football season. Like, let's just keep it a stack right now. This is getting me out of bed with a smile on my face. Like, it is against all odds that, as a fan of a 3-6 team, and also if you want to throw basketball into it too, an opening night loss, that we are somehow the more mentally stable fan base in this state the last few weeks. Like, the mental gymnastics, the hysterical crying, the conspiracy theories that have been hashed in the last 3 weeks are something unlike I've ever seen before. Like, it's starting to get on like alarming behavior, but wow, it's just been a masterclass of mental breakdowns the last 3 weeks here. But
it really has.
Thanks for the smiles this season, because I did not think they were coming at all.
Yeah, forever indebted to the Day family criminal enterprise that they have going on over there in New Hampshire.
And let's get Conor back in the military, man. Like, he could solve so many problems in days. Imagine if he was around decades ago when Tupac got murdered. You think that would have strung decades long? He would have had that wrapped up by the weekend. Like, this guy, even though he could be a little smarter with the ticket purchasing.
Yeah.
Brilliant mind. You got to tip your cap where you can, man. It's impressive what he's able to do.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Tupac and how long that took, it seems like Central Michigan's investigation might be rivaling the amount of time that other investigation took. Shout out to whoever tweeted that at you on Twitter, stealing that joke. But,
whatever.
I mean, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens here. I mean, by the time you guys are hearing this Thursday morning, maybe Tony over there in Indianapolis has already levied some sort of suspension. But I think the thing to me is, I don't know if the coordinators are going to be getting consequences with this. But to me personally, I don't see how if you suspend Harbaugh, you also are not suspending the two guys that were benefiting directly and communicating directly with Stallions between plays. I guess the only logic would be that if you're simply punishing the head of the program for not knowing what was happening inside his program, and that is the only reason you're doing a suspension and no other reason, then I guess I could see the logic of only suspending Harbaugh. But I mean, if you're actually trying to suspend them for what occurred in terms of a competitive advantage standpoint and not just a lack of institutional control, even though I know that's not the exact definition of that term, but you get the concept. Sure. I don't see why Jesse Minter and Tron Moore also wouldn't get suspended. So that's what I'll be watching for on Thursday to see if that is also the case.
Let's do prison time too. Let's borrow from old Jim Harbaugh last fall, and let's just start doling out sentences here.
Yeah.
See the poppin'. Justin, we did a really good job of kicking this next topic down the road as far as possible. But You know what? I got to say, we're going to talk about basketball. All right. We all know it happened Monday. I didn't have fun. I don't think you guys had fun listening, unless you're one of the many Michigan fans that listen to the show. You probably had a great time.
Yeah.
Let's keep it honest here. That must have been a very enjoyable Monday night. But here, right now, as we are recording late Wednesday night, we've done more than 24-hour rule this. We've 48-hour ruled this. All right. I was in hysterics after the game. I'm not going to lie to you and say like, oh no, we took that in stride. No, not at all. I was beside myself after that game. Right now, I got a cooler head. Justin's always got a cooler head. Like, we don't got to worry about him. Maybe you listening have a cooler head right now. But hey, how did that game happen? Was it a random anomaly? Was it the byproduct of 1 of 20 shooting? Something you will not count on the rest of the year. Was it a byproduct of 62% free throw shooting, also starting 2 of 10? Okay, those are pretty wonky numbers. Or was it also a byproduct of, okay, we might actually have some glaring issues here. Might be a little clear at this point that, okay, the 4 overall ranking, a little too much dip on the chip to start the season. Where do you see it? Are you as more of a, hey, wonky game against a veteran James Madison team that actually, and I know no State fans want to hear this because I don't even want to say it, like that is a good team. Not good enough where you should lose at home in the Breslin Center as a top 5 team, but they are a good team. You had some wonky things going shooting-wise, or are you more of the camp of, we could be in for a long one, and here comes another 10 seed.
There are 2 alarming things about that game that I think could plague the season long term. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I don't feel that loss itself is that alarming. So what I mean by that is the 1 for 23-point shooting. I think they go 4 for 20. They win that game. I don't know. I guess you want to directly add those 9 points to let's say they win by 9 in regulation. And absolutely nobody is well, I mean, a lot of people might still complain because it wasn't a very sound game, especially from the seniors. But anyway, if they win that game by 9, I don't think it's too much of an issue. And all that requires is going 4 for 20 if we're talking in a perfect world simulation type of setting.
And even that's bad. Right.
Right, exactly.
It gets the job done, though.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And the issue, though, is, Matt, even if you go 4 for 20, you win that game. The reason I'm so concerned is because I had fears coming into this season that there would not be the adequate amount of perimeter scoring from this team after Joey Hauser left. That was probably my number one fear for this team. I know rebounding was probably the most mainstream one for other people, and that's a valid one as well. But for me, nothing came close to the fear I had of where is the outside shooting going to come from unless it's a day where maybe Jaden Akins is hot. And then Tyson Walker always will probably be a guy that other than that game, that can bring you some 3-point shooting. But other than that, it was concerning. And those fears were realized this past game. The other issue, the leadership, there's no Aaron Henry on this team, not even from a talent level perspective, but simply from a...
Your house is on fire, Justin. You might want to put that out.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know what that was, but that was my fan, which is not even
Connor
on.
Stalions just throw like a spy mechanism in your house? What on earth is that? Oh my God, I don't know. My house is next. Oh, jeez.
But so the leadership from Malik Hall and AJ Hogard, and I guess you can throw Madi Sissoko in there just because he's older, and Tyson Walker and Akins, and it's just not where you need it to be. I think I said this to you after the game. It's if you had a guy like a Aaron Henry or a Xavier Tillman from a personality type standpoint, not even talent level, the potential for this team would be unlimited. And they could not be further away from having somebody like that. And that is concerning. Now, at the end of the day, you win 3 or 4 games in a row and at the right time in March. And it's just natural when you're winning. The vibes are high. And that's what we saw last year. I don't think last year they had anything special with leadership at all. Same guys as this year. I think Joey's a great guy in all ways that I've gathered, but not much of a presence, not a big talker. Wouldn't necessarily call him a leader. So last year they didn't have any good leadership at all. And we saw how great they looked in March there for a run there. So I think, sure, if everything is coming together and you're winning games, that can be overcome. But in January, when you're losing to Northwestern in the second half, or you're in a dogfight against Indiana and you need to win those games to have a favorable seed, I think it's going to hurt them there. I think the three-point shooting is going to hurt them there. So, those two issues, they concern me. The loss itself in a vacuum does not, but it's what does it say about those two factors that kind of does concern me.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see just how hot they start against Southern Indiana. Like, if they come out flaccid against Southern Indiana, like, okay, forget about it. Like, ring the alarm bells. Mm-hmm. Like, if they didn't take what happened last game and put that to fire to start Thursday's game, okay, like that's going to be a big issue here. But, yeah, all eyes go to the Duke game. And when it comes to the Champions Classic, which is the first of a few great non-conference games. We also have Butler. I mean, Bart Torvik has you winning that game by 12 points at home, okay? At the end of the day, that's still a Power 6 school. You have the Arizona game. You have the Baylor game as well, which, by the way, Baylor, great finish to their game against Auburn in Sioux Falls. Caught the end of that one. Good teams. Does a Duke win erase the wrongs for you of what happened on Monday? Or do you need to see, no, it has to be Duke and Arizona? Or no, they got to sweep the next 4 games to forgive themselves for their sins that they committed on Monday night? Like, what is going to have you erase what happened on Monday here in these next 4 great non-conference games?
Right. I'm curious to see your answer to this, because maybe I'm off base here, but I think
season.
I think if they beat Duke, that means a lot. Because maybe it's just where I think Duke is nationally, because I think Kansas and Duke are a tier above everybody else. I think Kentucky can get there, but I don't trust Calipari anymore these days. But people that I trust, like the Mark Titus's of the world, they say that this is built in a way where Calipari can have it all come together. I don't know. We'll see. But I think Duke and Kansas are just on another tier. And I think if you can go ahead 1 week after having one of the worst losses in recent program history, and 7 days after that, you can beat a top 2 team in the country that is a legit top 2 team, I think that means a ton to me. Obviously, you don't want to see it get undone against the Arizonas and Butlers of the world. And that would definitely be another conversation we can have at that point if they lose those and come back down to earth. But I think if they beat Duke, I'm putting a lot of stock in that personally.
Yeah, 2 seconds after the game on Monday, I'm thinking, no, they have to win the next 20 straight games for me to even think of forgetting this one. But believe it or not, I can be rational sometimes here. I do like to mix it in. And, let's be honest. I'm just picturing myself after the Duke game, if they do win the Champions Classic. Justin, I'll be talking mad crazy on here, man. I will be unhinged. And, look, on the surface, it's Duke. Woo, that's always a fun brand name to beat. But it's what's on that Duke game, with that Duke team.
Yeah,
it makes them a tough out. Hey, the front court has a little bit of issues here for Michigan State. Kyle Filipowski turned down the NBA draft last year to come back. He could be a major factor in this game. Not to go super analysis right here, but everyone can figure that out, that he could be prime for breakup force. But if you can stave him off, if you can stave off some good young guards that Duke always has, and even experienced guards like Jeremy Roach as well. Guards, I mean, God, they actually do have some experience with their youth too, which is a little scary about this Duke team. But if you can beat them at the Champions Classic, all right, guys. Hey, Monday was just a joke, right? It was all a bit. It's all good in the hood. So, you just write your runs to just one game, and that's the beauty of it being this early in a long college basketball season.
Because the thing of it is also you have to see the blueprint or the formula that leads them to that win. If it's a fluky sort of thing where Duke shoots 1 for 20 from 3, and you still don't have a bounce back performance from Malik Hall, and AJ's still not assertive in driving to the lane, and instead it's a 22-point game from Tyson Walker, a 17-point game from Akins, and Carson Cooper, it contributes a double-double, and it's one of those games where it's not the pieces you need to see bounce back. Maybe it takes a little air out of it, but if you beat a team that, in my opinion, is the second most likely to win a national title, it's going to be very hard to nitpick that and not get your hopes and get bought back into that. But I guess it is subjective, and I think Kansas is going to go ahead and hang another banner here this year. It's one of those years for me where every few years, like before the year, there's like an automatic national title winner, like Georgia in football 2 years ago. Like I think everybody saw that coming. It's one of those things, or I should say Georgia last year after they already won 2 years ago. For me, that's just Kansas this year. I think Kansas was the number 2 team in the country before they got Hunter Dickinson. Unless he's gonna just be a locker room cancer and destroy the formula. I don't think
we've seen it.
This is true.
We've seen it. I mean, God, Michigan's only one game into their basketball team, and after dogging on them the first 20 minutes, like they look good. Maybe it was a Patrick Ewing theory thing, but I've said a lot of stupid things in front of a camera before, Justin, on a microphone too. Here I go. You want a really dumb one right now?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna uncork it. I think I'm going with Purdue. I think I'm going with Purdue. I think I'm going to do it. Like, look, I know that I've stepped on this rake 6 times, and that they have proven in spades that they cannot be trusted to even make you a cheese sandwich and a glass of water correctly in the month of March. But dude, like Zach Edey returns. Like, obviously, that's a nice piece to have on your team. But man, it's the shooting and also the young kids too, because they really lost their legs at the end of last year. We saw it, but man, coming back for strong sophomore seasons for a lot of those guys, like, oh boy, you surround Zach Edey with that kind of shooting, like, I'm gonna make the grave mistake of putting a lot of money on the Purdue Boilermakers to win in March. Which, when has that ever gone wrong? So,
I totally agree with the formula there. It's a young college basketball season. It's only been a couple days, but my biggest unit bet so far was a parlay that centered around Zach Edey to have over on assists, because I fully believe what you just said about spacing with shooters this year. They have guard depth. They have obviously guys that could shoot to begin with, and those guys shoot even better with home splits, which once again, they could probably win the Big Ten title, go in with a 1 seed into the NCAA tournament. So you have a better formula this year for if teams decide to double and triple Zach Edey in the post like they did in March last year, and you have more outlets. And at the end of the day, you cannot just keep losing early. I mean, I guess you can. I mean, but still, the Virginia Tony Bennett kind of thing. They lose to UMBC against the 1 versus 16. The monkey's off your back. You have nothing to lose. You've already seen the worst of it. Like, eventually, you have to overcome it.
Yeah. That dealer isn't going to flip a blackjack every single hand, right? Like, just on numbers alone, you're going to go into a second weekend.
Matt. They do at the Hard Rock in Tampa Bay.
Shoot, I'm sorry to hear that, man, but that's okay. We'll keep chopping our way back into the bankroll here.
Yeah, I mean, that phrase is banned, but I get your point.
Sorry, I just wanted to shoehorn one more in there.
Yeah, I think, but that's all we have kind of for this episode, right, Matt? We're gonna be back in a short while to talk about some coaching search and MSU football. But anything else on Stallions, Gator, MSU hoops?
No, just looking forward to talking, coaching search, football, and then the mugshot with Jim Harbaugh in an orange jumpsuit. Any given day now, that's going to be electric. So until then, see you guys later.
Yeah, appreciate everyone for tuning in. We'll be back shortly for the next episode of the SC4L show. Appreciate you guys tuning in.